So last week in a interactive webinar with people from diverse backgrounds, diverse age groups and different industries, we came up with 5 recommendations, outcomes as to what all businesses should do or can do after COVID-19, after the current lockdown and the current scenario that is existing across the world. And before I offer you these 5 outcomes as recommendations on what to do, let me tell you the 3 things we assume to be true for today, for this crisis. Number 1, we took as truth the fact that humanity in the last 100 years has never experienced anything like this. So huge, so invisible, and so vicious. We haven't experienced anything like that. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that yes, all businesses will be impacted. Global economies will be impacted in a big way, huge, almost as bad as the depression was back in the 1920s and 30s, so almost 100 years ago. And the third thing is that the future is going to be different. People are calling it the new normal, and as a group we agreed to call it the better normal, obviously because we are learning a lesson and we are going to do better for sure. So these are the facts that we assume to be true, and we came up with 5 suggestions. So let me name the 5 suggestions and then I'll go over each of them in detail. The first outcome or the recommendation to you as a business person is that assess all impact. All, underline, underscore, impact. All, positive or negative. And I'll explain how and why. Second one is reinforce all relationships. Supply side, demand side, and even internal relationships, reinforce them, and we'll talk about how to reinforce them. The third one is to tighten the organization, tighten your business structure. The fourth recommendation is that upskill your agilities and upskill the abilities of your people. That's the fourth one. And the fifth suggestion is kind of different from what everyone is saying. Most everyone is saying play safe and just survive for the next 12 months or the next 2 years. What we recommend is go beyond borders. Make offense your strategy rather than sit back and be defensive and wait for things to unfold. So these are the 5 suggestions. Let me repeat, then we'll go over each one of them. Number 1, assess all impact. Number 2, reinforce partnerships. Number 3, tighten the organization. Number 4, upskill your agilities and your people's abilities. Number 5, go beyond borders. It sounds like the CNN tagline of yesteryears. So those are the 5, and let's go over each one of them one by one. So the first one, assess all impact. All kinds, positive or negative. And to explain that, let me share a scenario. There's a very popular restaurant in Makati, Philippines. It's a ramen restaurant. Several months ago, when things were all normal, people used to line up outside this restaurant for hours, whether they were trying to get 2 seats to dine in or 20 seats to dine in. They would wait for 2, 3, 4 hours, and it was a standard. It was a known fact that if you want to eat there, you need to wait. And when I was there one time, I was thinking, why don't they expand? Why don't they have branches? Why don't they franchise? Why don't they just grow organically? Today, after the COVID-19 scenario, when everyone's staying home, this restaurant has had to move its business from being a dine-in only restaurant is now a delivery only restaurant. And here's the deal. This restaurant, even though it's a delivery only restaurant, every time you order dinner, for example, if I want to order dinner tonight, I place the order in this restaurant, the food arrives 3 weeks later. Now, who plans for dinner 3 weeks later? I know people plan for weddings and parties 3 weeks into the future, but dinner, a simple TV dinner, for matter of fact. So this restaurant has been positively impacted, and yet what we think is that they were not ready for this. So assess all kinds of impact, positive or negative. If you're in the travel, entertainment, tourism kind of an industry, business, you are going to be impacted negatively. Really, you're going to go down under as the earth has heaved and hoed, as the earth has turned around. So you're going to go down under, and you need to kind of find strength and kind of tap into your internal resources, tap into your savings and assets, and then survive and thrive. If you have been impacted positively, that means you were either in farming, food processing, delivery, etc., your business is going to be impacted positively. So that's the spectrum, entertainment and then survival industries. In between, there are many: finance, banking, education, etc., etc. All these in between will have to stumble through the crisis. So the suggestion is, do a proper SWOT analysis and focus on your strengths and focus on the opportunities ahead of you. The earth, the whole global economy has turned inside out. Some organizations will thrive, the others will have to fight to survive. That's the first fact, and that is the first recommendation. Now for the second recommendation, which is to reinforce all partnerships. What does this mean? Every time we don't go to work, every time we don't follow a certain ritual, a certain discipline, a certain habit, that ritual, that discipline kind of wanes, it atrophies. So if you don't exercise, your body wanes, it atrophies. Same with your work, same with your work habits, same with your work practices and work rituals. When you don't work, you will not be as effective as you were way before the time you took a holiday, time off, no? So you need to come back and kind of revive yourself to be able to work with the same focus and the same dedication. So there's going to be a huge psychological impact besides business impact. Companies will lose, or they will slack down on their employee engagement. People will be less motivated. So the second recommendation is reinforce all partnerships. That means don't just look at internal challenges, but also turn around and look at your supply side. People who were helping you keep your business running. Your suppliers, your associates, your services, what have you, even your advertising partners, they will be impacted in the same way. So go back, call them, find out how they're doing, what they need, and how you can support them, and how you can collaborate towards surviving and thriving. Same thing, of course, which most everyone will do, is look at the demand side, the buyer side. No, we will call up our buyers and find out how they are. So do that thing, so kind of get in touch with all relationships, revive them, strengthen these relationships through a conversation, through a dialogue, and through a commitment to collaborate. That's the second one. The third outcome / recommendation is tighten the organization. Tighten your structure and systems. Many years ago, when I entered the field of learning and development, I was going to partner with an educational institution, and they had this department called for executive education, like seminars and stuff. And that business of that institution wasn't doing well. It was kind of, slow, not making enough money, not enough product was being put out. So when I met the dean, my mentor at that time, and I said, why don't we stop everything, and draw in all the programs and then rehash them, rewrite them, and have a proper curriculum, and then kind of rebrand and remarket them. So let's take a vacation for 3 months and just re-engineer the whole stuff. He said no, and I still till date remember what he said. He said, we are a ship on the sea. He said, we are an ongoing vessel. We can't stop, we cannot go back to the harbor. We need to fix our ship while it is sailing on the sea. So you got to fix your ship right now. So in this case, in our scenario, we need to tune up, tighten up our organization while it is in the middle of an ocean, while it is in the middle of a storm, COVID-19 and the lockdown. No? So unload excess baggage, unload excess weight. Stop practices that are not creating valuable output. Give up on projects and processes and assets that are not providing value or are not growing. So give up on those and focus on which are giving you instant, positive, measurable results. Now, most people will think that, one of our biggest burden is people. Not true. When you turn a ship around, it's something that you've never done before. So your machineries, your intelligence, your computers are not going to help you because they've never been there. They've never been encoded to do that. But people, you will need them. Yours is a ship that's making a sharp turn in a storm. So it is putting on the brakes, it's accelerating, and it's also swinging the steering wheel. The people are something you need to keep. So tighten the organization and continue caring for your people. The third recommendation is upskill agilities and abilities. Very much connected to the previous description of how to turn a ship around in mid-ocean. Upskill agilities and abilities. For this recommendation, let me cite a scenario. A company called Emperador Brandy, belonging to a larger group called Alliance Global in the Philippines. In the last 6 to 8 weeks, when this crisis hit and when there was a shortage of medical supplies, masks, and disinfectants, this is a company that was making brandy. Within a matter of weeks, they turned around their direction. They repurposed themselves, and instead of producing drinking alcohol, they began to produce alcohol that would disinfect and heal. Less than 3 weeks. Not only did they turn their ship around, not only did they have their people do multiple jobs and change their habits and behaviors and their processes. In the first few weeks, they donated $50 million worth of disinfectant to the community at large. Amazing turnaround and amazing agility. So look at your business and make a quick turnaround. Train your people hard. Train them fast. Make them multitaskers. Coach and train them for different functions rapidly. And your people will rise up to the occasion. People really have a lot more potential than they actually put out. And in this scenario, you can depend on them. And so training and coaching is something you'll have to do right away for new business practices, for new systems and structures, even new applications if you employ them. So that's your recommendation number 3. So that's your recommendation number 4. And here's recommendation number 5. Recommendation number 5 is stretch your limits. Go beyond borders. And most everyone is truly saying that this is a time either you thrive or you fight to survive. And many of us are talking about social distancing in a brand new world, and the fact that we'll have to go so much more digital. We'll have to depend so much more on machines to be able to reach far and wide. In the world of learning and development, where I am part of, most every institution, most every individual consultant has kind of jumped on the digital bandwagon, and truly so. We were all planning to do it for decades, but this time, 1, 2, 3, we are on board. So go beyond borders. Now, doing that kind of removes the barriers of geographical limits. Our reaches go farther up. So sitting here in the Philippines, I can reach out to Botswana, I can reach out to Belgium, I can reach out to Bombay, which is now called Mumbai. So likewise, I think other agents and other consultants have reached out far across. So think of it from that perspective. In fact, Tata Consultancy, one of the biggest consulting firms of India with thousands of employees, across the world, remotely placed in different parts of the world, in different countries. In the last 6 weeks, almost all of them began to work from home. And in the last 6 weeks, their productivity jumped up several notches. So the management has decided that this will be the new modus operandi. That means in the future, Tata consultants will work from home. 75% of their workforce has been planned. It's decided that they will be working from home by 2025. Tata Consultancy, the big group, will be a home-based business. So thus, stretch your reach, stretch your imagination, and still think of offense as a strategy, or positive, assertive offense as a strategy, than sitting back and being defensive and letting things take its course. So put your shoulder into that change and drive that change. So these are the 5 recommendations. They are not written in stone. It's for you to pick and choose, take them all with a pinch of salt, alter them, morph them, or if you have suggestions, you can offer them to us. So in conclusion, the world is changing. It is not just becoming a new normal, it's probably becoming a better normal. And collaboration, compassion, and kindness will be the ruling policies of a brand new world, and it's the new behavior of the new world. So look forward to it, and we're going to be a happier humanity as the world opens up in the next few weeks or few months. My name is Raju Mandhyan. I'm a speaker, trainer, and a coach based in the Philippines. And if you liked what you heard over here, please share, subscribe, and come back to us. Other than that, God bless and do your best, and may you survive and thrive. Adios.